Welcome, Stashers, to another episode of Stache Sports. Late last night, the Steelers had another breaking news. This time, they gave a contract extension to the backup tight end, Darnell Washington, who's probably one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL today. In the NFL right now, I mean, he's really tall, and he can just bulldoze everybody else. So that's good to see. But the Steelers are paying these players some of their draft classes a couple years ago. Next is probably Joey Porter Jr. when they give him a contract extension. But right now, we haven't given Joey Porter Jr. a contract extension, but he'll probably get more since Joey Porter Jr. has been a starter since day one and hasn't been a backup. But we'll see. It's interesting now, but they keep doing these and signing these players early because the Pittsburgh Steelers in years past mostly waited until like the start of preseason or start of regular season before they signed some of the players like TJ Watt back to their contract extension and Cam Hayward to another contract extension, and they've been holding out during practices. So I don't know if they're trying to sign the players now so they don't hold out during practices and cause drama, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Oh, well, whatever. They signed Darnell Washington a new 5-year contract extension. The 6'7", 200-pound, 264-pound Washington a new 5-year contract about keeping the black and gold for the rest of the decade. I don't know what's going to be. But Darnell Washington signed a 4-year contract worth up to $42 million in extension that includes $21 million guaranteed. But it only was 4 years. Total value, guaranteed money, $21 million. Average annual value, $10.5 million. But that's good. I mean, now with them signing Darnell Washington, maybe under this new Mike McCarthy offense, is Mike McCarthy's more an offensive mind, and then Mike Tomlin that was on the defensive side of the ball, maybe a defensive minded coach, maybe they might start finally throwing the ball down the middle of the field, which would be greatly appreciated. That's something the Steelers need to do, is throw the ball down the middle of the field and get him and Pat Fryer more involved in the Steelers offense. I mean, Darnell Washington only had a couple touchdowns last year, but he did have a good blocking. It really helped block for Kenneth Gainwell last year and Jalen Warren in our running game. And it was really good blocking in our running game, and will continue to be good block in our running game too. And that's what Mike McCarthy likes to do, is have good running games. So it's nice to have a good blocking tight end and sign for that much money. I know it seems a lot, and I don't know where the Steelers are getting this money for these players. $42 million and $21 million guaranteed, but the average value of $10.5 million per year to play football. I mean, that's a lot of money, but that's not as much money as Nick Herbig's getting paid, but we'll see. And they're also going to pay Joey Porter Jr., but NFL had a salary cap, so I don't know where they're getting all this money if they keep paying all these players. If that means that somebody else is going to be having to go out or trade, I don't know what's going to happen. But right now, all I'm focused about is how good the deal was. I mean, he is a good tight end, and like I said yesterday about Nick Herbig, I think this player can be on the up and rise. I think I'm wearing my Aaron Rodgers t-shirt today, as you can see. But I think this is a good deal. I think this is a good deal. I think this is a good deal. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Steelers do from now on, like I said, with a salary cap. But I don't know what they're getting all this money for. But it's good to have two good tight ends, a tight end set. There's something to utilize him more, even if he's just more than a blocking tight end. Hopefully he can get more touchdowns, and they can utilize him in the red zone and just throw up a go ball to him because he's 6'7". He's 6'7", so maybe they can just throw a go ball up to him and try to have him get up above the defender and try to get the ball in the end zone, and they can utilize him more. But we have a new coach. It's going to be interesting to see how they do with him, like I said about Nick Herbig yesterday, how to utilize him more now, but he got a contract extension. But Mount Washington is a good player and is well worth the money, I think. And we'll see. I think this could be another bargain for the Steelers if it pans out right and he does really good for the Steelers. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the Steelers and if he can do well. But I don't know what's going to happen with now. He has 50 receptions, 625 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So 2 touchdowns and 675 yards. That definitely needs to get higher now that he got paid. They definitely need to utilize him more. But since we got Jeremiah Bernard, we got Michael Pittman, what's going to happen now? How are they going to utilize him? Is it going to be more of a running block tight end, or are they going to try to use him in the red zone and try to throw up a go ball since he's so taller than the other players, and try to see if we can out-muscle them and get the ball? It's going to be interesting to see on the new Mike McCarthy offense what happens, even though we have Aaron Rodgers for one of those years. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a future ballot Hall of Famer, which I'm wearing his t-shirt today, as you can see. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Darnell Washington. I mean, I'm glad Darnell Washington got a contract extension, but I thought Joey Porter Jr. got a contract extension before that. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens now, because I do think Joey Porter Jr. is next. Also, Keanu Benton is on a contract extension. I don't know if he's going to get one, or if it's going to be Joey Porter Jr. and those three, but we'll see. I'm not the management. I'm not Omar Khan and the Steelers and Art Rooney and the Steelers management, so I don't know where all this money's coming from. But I'm glad they got Darnell Washington a new deal. Because at least was a bright side last night at Pittsburgh Sports, since the Pirates, we'll talk about later, blew a game and one of the most devastating losses of the season so far. But we'll get into that later on in the video. But I'm glad Darnell Washington got a contract. I remember his stiff arm in Week 11 against the Bengals. That was pretty good. He became a key red zone target for Aaron Rodgers. He needs to do that more. But he did get hurt last year, so that did reduce his production last year. So if he could stay healthy and be a more reliable target in the red zone and get the Steelers more touchdowns, that'd be good for the Pittsburgh Steelers and show why they paid him. He combines elite blocking with growing receiving ability and making him a walking mismatch. Improved extra offense, line depth, and the physical threat and the passing game. Let's hope. I mean, they do need to throw down the field, like I said, more. That'd be greatly appreciated. The Steelers can keep throwing down the field and get Darnell Washington and Pat Fryer more involved. I mean, last year they tried to bring in Johnny Smith, and Johnny Smith didn't do so good this year. So now they only have 2 tight ends, and they got rid of Connor Hayward. I do realize they signed some tight end from the Packers in free agency, if I can remember his name, but I don't know if he's going to be here if he's just a camp body right now. And they did draft a tight end from Indiana, but I think Darnell Washington and Pat Fryer will be the 2 tight ends here for this year, and they won't have to try to feed around with Johnny Smith and other tight ends in that mix. But we'll see. Let's hope they can get him more involved. And it's going to be interesting to see, like I said, how they're going to deal with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's a new coach, but he's an offensive-minded coach. Mike McCarthy's offenses have been pretty good out of all the stops he's been in Green Bay and Dallas, even though he got fired in the Cowboys. But that's more of Jerry Jones, in my opinion. That's more of Jerry Jones, in my opinion. Steelers award with $42 million contingent, $21 million guaranteed. That's nice. Darnell Washington parlayed his 2025 breakout season until a lucrative Pittsburgh reached an agreement on the 6'7". It's in for 4 years of $14 million, but includes $21 million guaranteed. A 2020 third-round pick. He was the third-round pick, and yesterday Nick Herbig was a 4th-round pick. So it's nice that trying to sign later picks and make them work out well, and they're looking like they're panning out well and looking like they could have a good future here. I mean, really the only decent first-round pick we had and signed him, I think, for the last few years was T.J. Watt. But T.J. Watt is probably one of the best edge rushers still in the game, even though some people want him to be traded. But we'll see. I hope he doesn't get traded. I think Highsmith should get traded if they trade one of them. But right now I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the Steelers trying to get ready for minicamp and get ready for the regular season to see who else they sign and see every breaking news. At least the Steelers are making this podcast more interesting and making me have something to talk about because they're signing some of these players early on in the season and have something to talk about. In 2023, I picked Darnell Washington. Jeez, I didn't know he was in 2023. Was on his final year of his rookie contract. While he is primarily a blocking tight end, which is probably one of the best from the University of Georgia, is slated to show receiving powers last season before he suffered a Week 17 injury during the Pittsburgh Steelers loss to Clowns. He set a career high in receptions to 31 yards and 364 establishing a quick report of Aaron Rodgers. Darnell Washington. But we'll see. I mean, I think Darnell Washington had 300. New York. 364 yards last year. And our wide receiver number 2, who everybody thought was our wide receiver number 2, even though he's on the New York Giants now, Calvin Austin had 375 and 2 touchdowns. He had one more touchdown than Darnell Washington last year and almost 10 more yards, 11 more yards receiving than Darnell Washington did last year. And 2 less receptions. So hopefully they can keep Darnell Washington and give him more receptions this year in the offense and he can stay healthy all year. But this Stache, and thank you Stache for watching this episode of Stache Sports. But this Stache thinks that's a really good idea, a really good deal, and real good contract extension for Darnell Washington. We like to call him Mount Washington because that's when the mounts appear, and he's really huge, so that's why we call him Mount Washington. But this Stache thinks that's a really good deal, and thinks the Steelers and thinks Omar Kong struck yet again like he struck with Nick Herbig. I mean, that was late breaking last night. That was around 9:30, so I didn't do a part 2 because I was too busy watching the basketball game last night and figured I would talk more about it today. But that's not bad. I mean, like I said, he had 364 yards and 1 touchdown last year. And Calvin Austin, he was supposedly wide receiver number 2, had 375 yards, 29 receptions, and 2 touchdowns. And he had 31 receptions, or 30 receptions for read more. He's a high-paid blocking tight end in the NFL, and the 12th highest-paid tight end overall. He makes less money than Pat Fryer but he's still making a lot of money. But 12th highest-paid tight end, that's not bad. Washington is a 6'7", 311-pound Georgia tight end, third round pick. He tried both his blocking presses and receiving yards. In summary, Darnell Washington's 4-year, $14 million with $20 million guaranteed is a significant boost for the Pittsburgh lacking a versatile high-impact tight end for the next 4 seasons. I mean, I really do like the contract, and I really do think it's good. But I do think they need to give more money to Joey Porter Jr. next, because Joey Porter Jr. is a lockdown corner, and they need to sign him next. But we'll see. This is a new era in Pittsburgh Steelers football, and they're signing players a lot earlier now, so they don't have drama in the training camp. But I really do like it, and I really do think like I said about Nick Herbig last night, and a couple days ago, you go back to part 2 of episode 116 and watch a little bit of episode 117. But like I said yesterday, I really do think that Darnell Washington and Nick Herbig will both have monster years this year and will step up. It's going to be interesting to see what they do under Mike McCarthy's offense, Darnell Washington, and they'll get more receiving yards. I mean, like I said, he had 364 last year, 30 receptions or whatever, and 1 touchdown. And Calvin Austin, who's 5'9", only 2 inches taller than me, only had 364 last year, 374 last year, or 375 or 76 last year with 2 touchdowns, and he was supposed to be our receiver number 2. Now we have Michael Pittman Jr., and we have a rookie tight end, a rookie receiver from Alabama, and a rookie receiver from Alabama. and Bernard, but we'll see what Bernard does, and we'll see what Michael Pittman does. And we still have DK Metcalf back there right now as this video airs. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, we do have a future ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, even if he is turning 42 years old, or 42 years old, or whatever it is. We still have a future ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, even though he's getting older. It's just going to be interesting to see what our offensive line can do. Our offensive line is going to be young. If our offensive line can protect well enough, we finally have better receivers than we did last year, in my personal opinion. Because underneath Calvin Austin, we had to go out and get old people like Adam Thielen and Valdez Scantling, MVS. Probably butchered that name. We had to get MVS, and we still had other people to feed the ball to. It's going to be interesting to see now how we feed the ball and who we feed the ball to. I think that means Roman Wilson's probably on his way out, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see during the training camp and preseason what happens and how this final 53-man roster folds itself out. I really do think that Highsmith and TJ Watt will still be here this year, right now if this video airs, but who knows? With all this money coming around and salary cap, it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep all this money, keep all these players with the salary cap, because that's something the Steelers need to do. But salary cap, unlike baseball, if it doesn't have a salary cap, it needs a salary cap. You don't have so much money to sign these players. But I really do think that Darnell Washington is worth the money, and I really do think Washington will have a bigger year. But like I said, it's going to be interesting now that we actually have a receiver, Michael Pittman Jr., that's 6'11", and was one of the good receivers in Indianapolis Colts. I mean, I know he had a busy backfield last year with the Colts receivers. I'm not going to mention the names, so you can go look them up if you want to. And they signed One minute. Making a little detour. I know they signed Alex Pierce last year to the Indianapolis Colts, but last year, like I said, he still had a lot of yards for the Colts, and the Colts had different quarterbacks last year. They had Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones got hurt, but they had different quarterbacks, and they still have Josh Downs too, but he was in a busy backfield. So it's going to be interesting to see what Michael Pittman Jr. can bring to the Steelers. I think Michael Pittman Jr. brings a lot of good stuff to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think he'll do a lot of good for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but time will tell. But like I said, I'm really glad they got Darnell Washington a new deal, because I think Darnell Washington could be a good tight end, given a chance and given more opportunity. And that he built a good chemistry with Aaron Rodgers last year. I think that'd be a good idea to keep him around and see what he can do for our Pittsburgh Steelers, but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting year, and I'll keep my eye more on this and see how many receptions yards he gets more than last year. It's going to be interesting to see what Calvin Austin does, since the Giants signed Juju Smith-Schuster, and they signed Odell Beckham Jr., and they still have Malik Neighbors, and another receiver from last year, but I can't remember his name right now, but we'll see. Or Darius Slayton. They got Darius Slayton, that's true. But we'll see what he does. But it's going to be interesting to see what Michael Pittman Jr. can do. Because last year, even though he had a crowded backfield, he had a lot more yards. He had 7 touchdowns, which is more than 2 touchdowns by 5'9" Calvin Austin, and 784 yards, which is a lot more than 375 yards. He ranked 36th in the NFL, tied for 15th in the league in touchdowns. He had 80 receptions, so a lot more receptions. But this is talking about Michael Pittman Jr. For those of you that might have lost my train of thought. This is talking about Michael Pittman Jr. and how Michael Pittman Jr. is added to the Indianapolis Colts last year. And they did have Daniel Jones that had a good year, but we'll see what happens to that. Also, yesterday, the Green Bay Packers gave a new contract to Christian Watson, for $110.5 million extension. The Green Bay first Jaden Weed, now Christian Waddle, Christian Watson. Jalen Reed's a good receiver too. Or Jaden Reed's a good receiver too for the Packers. And now they gave Watson within matters of weeks. But that's good because Jordan Love's a good quarterback. So have two good receivers, and Reed and Watson locked in for the good future. For young quarterback, but he can build more time with and more chemistry with. That's good, but they signed Watson. Watson first agreed to a 4-year, $110.5 million extension, but includes $31 million signing bonus. Source told ESPN Adam Schefter. This came after the 3 years. This came after Reed signed a 3-year, $50.25 million extension on April 24th. Watson, 27, previously signed a 1-year, $11 million contract extension last September on a gap deal during his return from torn ACL. The new money averaged to $26 million is almost exactly what a franchise tag is on the Cowboys receiver George Pickens. However, Watson still has $5.7 million extension in his contract. In 4 seasons in the Packers, Watson has caught 133 passes for 2,064 yards and 20 touchdowns. I mean, that's good. Yesterday, if you know, I talked really fast about it, but yesterday, Drake London got a contract extension. Drake London hasn't had that much stats as him, but Drake London, unlike Christian Watson, hasn't had. Unlike Christian Watson, Drake London hasn't had good quarterback play. I mean, they had Kirk Cousins, and they had Michael Penix Jr., but Michael Penix Jr. is still a rookie learning the ropes. And now they got Tua Tagovailoa in Atlanta, so it's going to be interesting to see what the quarterback play is there for Atlanta. But last year, Michael Penix Jr. couldn't stay healthy, and they had to go with Kirk Cousins. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I think the Christian Watson deal is better because I think the Packers are a good team. And that's why I think it's going to be interesting to see what people like Malik Willis can do with the Miami Dolphins, because they had 2 good receivers in Jordan Reed last year and Christian Watson and other receivers last year for the Packers. And if you have good receivers and you have a good offensive line, any quarterback, in my opinion, can look good on a team that's well coached, like the Packers are. And Christian Watson's a good receiver. I mean, that's pretty good to have 2,064 yards and 20 touchdowns. I mean, they lost receiver Romeo Doubs to the Patriots, but I mean, they had 3 good receivers, so it's going to be interesting now that Christian Watson's the number 2 or number 1 receiver with Jordan Reed to see how they eat now, how much more production they get. I mean, Jordan Love is a lot better quarterback, I think, than Malik Willis. Malik Willis still has to prove himself, but we'll see. I mean, that's a good deal for the Packers. $110.5 million contract extension. For 4 years. That includes $31 million signing bonus. That's pretty good payday for him. Congratulations to Christian Watson on getting a new contract. But, I mean, Drake London might be good too. But Drake London just needs good quarterback play. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just need good quarterback play. And you need young quarterbacks, even though you have an old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, but he's a future out Hall of Famer. You need good quarterback play to make your receivers good and make them look good and have a good coaching system. That's something that Atlanta Falcons have been lacking for a while, but we'll see what happens. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons might do good, but we'll see. The Washington Rams, after trading for defensive Myles Garrett initially, are resigning Defensive Player of the Year to have agreed to a rebook contract. The rebook deal includes an increase in total compensation for the 2026 season, which was previously at $31.5 million, included per game roster bonus. This news and goes to $37 million. That's a lot of money for Myles Garrett, but that's a pretty good deal for Myles Garrett. We'll see what happens to Myles Garrett in that deal, but that's pretty good. Cowboys expect George Pickens to be at June minicamp. We'll see. Hopefully he doesn't hold out, but he is on a contract here, and he is a diva receiver, and he is on the franchise track, so hopefully he comes back and doesn't be a diva like he was in Pittsburgh, but we'll see. If I was a Packers fan, I wouldn't be holding my breath. The Vikings coach on praised by Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy quarterback competition. It's going to be interesting to see what J.J. McCarthy can do. J.J. McCarthy was a rookie, but got hurt in his rookie season and only played last year and wasn't all that good. So that's why I got Kyler Murray. It's going to be interesting to see what Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy can do in that franchise and see who the quarterback is for the Minnesota Vikings and if they had to be looking for a quarterback next year. Lions rookie Law tears his ACL in practice. That's not good. Fifth round pick Kendrick Law tears his ACL in practice, so he's done for the rest of the year. That's not good. It's not good to ever see anybody injure themselves this early in practice, no matter if they're a rookie or a vet. Russell Wilson confirms he is retiring from the NFL and joining CBS. I mean, a couple of days ago, I don't know if I reported, but I told my brother, but there was rumors that Russell Wilson was going to be a CBS analyst for this upcoming season. So now I guess he made it official, and will be a CBS analyst this upcoming season. It will be in the CBS booth or in his crew with my coach, Bill Cowher. But we'll see. But congratulations to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson had a good career. He won one Super Bowl with the Seahawks and had a good career. I mean, his Denver days weren't the best, but he did have a decent season, with our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. So I wish him nothing but the best retirement, and we'll see if he becomes a Hall of Fame quarterback. But he was a good quarterback. Did pretty good for the Seattle Seahawks, but was okay for the Broncos and was decent for the Steelers. But congratulations to Russell Wilson. You will be missed, Dangerous Russ, number 3 in Seattle, and you will be missed in the NFL, Dangerous Russ. But we'll see what Dangerous Russell Wilson can do now in the commentary booth, or do now on a CBS halftime and before game and after game crew, whichever one they decide to put him on. But congratulations to Russell Wilson and his endeavors and retirement. He will be missed. The 10-time Pro Bowl quarterback Russell Wilson confirmed Wednesday on a video post on social media that he is retiring from the NFL to take a job at CBS Sports. Wilson announced retirement coming days after news broke that he finalized a deal to become an analyst on CBS football pregame show. So I guess it's not a pregame show. I guess I just had to read it. LOL. As I enter the next chapter in the sports world, this is by Russell Wilson. Winvote today, which is the one with Bill Cowher before and after the games and during halftime. I am blessed to continue doing what I love and being around the greatest game in the world, he said in the video. Thank you, football, and love number 3. Wilson played 14 seasons after being taken by Seattle in the 3rd round in the 2022 NFL Draft. Wow, I didn't know he played that long. Out of Wisconsin. He also played for NC State, too. He switched schools back, but I guess they're going with Wisconsin. That's one of his schools. He spent the first 10 seasons with the Seahawks, leading to the first Super Bowl champions in 2013, and he was traded, and he was a player away in another Super Bowl, but got intercepted in the end zone by the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots won the game when Pete Carroll probably should have ran a stupid ball in the end zone on the goal line and not thrown it. But that was one of Pete Carroll's biggest mistakes, getting Patriots another Super Bowl ring. In 2023 season, he was traded to the Broncos. In 2027, spent 2 rocky years with the Broncos. I mean, that was rocky years, and he got benched with the Broncos. But the Broncos paid him a lot of money, so that's why he came to the Steelers on a prove-it deal, or a league minimum deal, because the Broncos are paying most of his contract, which is good for the Steelers. Wilson threw for 469,000 yards, of 335 touchdown passes, and 114 interceptions. He joined Peyton Manning and Dan Marino as the only quarterbacks to throw for at least 20 touchdown passes in each of his first 3 seasons, and one of his 7 single callers to have been selected by 10 Pro Bowlers. Wilson is the only player in NFL history with at least 30 touchdown passes and fewer than 15 interceptions for 4 straight seasons. He also had 3 seasons with at least 30 touchdown passes and 500 yards rushing, which is the most in NFL history. So congratulations to Russell Wilson. You will be missed, but congratulations. It's going to be interesting to see also what happens with Brandon Ayuk, because Brandon Ayuk had a dumb video by posting a video of his beating in December, but hopefully he doesn't have anything happen to him, but we'll see. Last night, was Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And mostly in the third quarter until like maybe the last 7 minutes of the third quarter, the San Antonio Spurs were up by 14 points, I believe. I mean, I could be mistaken. I was watching the game, so I wasn't really looking at the scoreboard because I was trying to watch the game because the scoreboard's on the bottom of the screen. Sometimes with my vision, it's hard for me to see that. But I think it was like 7 minutes of this 14-game point lead by the Spurs. And the next thing you know, the New York Knicks had a big comeback and tied the game going into the third quarter. And there's a tie game going into the fourth quarter. And tied the game going into the fourth quarter. It was a tie game going into the fourth quarter until like 2 minutes left when the New York Knicks went on their last big run. And the New York Knicks won 105-95, winning by 10 points and continuing their hot month of not losing a basketball game. I mean, I even predicted that the San Antonio Spurs would win, but the New York Knicks took Game 1. Congratulations to the New York Knicks. And last night, it wasn't the New York Knicks offense that really led them to that 10.5 lead. I mean, I know they had a couple players do really good for the New York Knicks, but it's really the New York Knicks defense. I mean, that defense is really tough. It's going to be interesting to see if San Antonio Spurs and the young coach can adjust and be able to figure out that defense and the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, if the San Antonio Spurs can figure out that defense, because that was really tough last night. I mean, Victor Yamba did have a good night, but that defense is good. And I'm pretty sure I heard him say that the New York Knicks did not have a turnover in the second half at all, or only had one turnover in the second half, which is good. That's everything that you need. I mean, I remember watching the game, and the Spurs had a lot of turnovers, and that wasn't good. That might be one reason why they lost last night. But now they have a day off before playing Game 2 on Saturday. They won 105-95 last night. The Knicks scored 28 points in the third quarter, 29 points in the fourth quarter, 29 points in the second quarter. The Spurs scored 27 points in the first quarter, 28 points in the second quarter, 21 points in the third quarter, and 19 points in the fourth quarter. OG Anunoby had 17 points. However, Towns had 18 points. Jalen Brunson was really led the New York Knicks, had 30 points. Josh Hart only had 3 points. So that's why I said it's mostly a defensive game by the New York Knicks. Because John Champagne had 16, Victor Yamba had 26, Stephen Castle had 17. But we'll see. It was a good game near the end. It was a good game. I thought it was going to go to overtime. But like I said, like 2 minutes left, that's when the New York Knicks decided to come out and have a really big come-out party and win the game 105-95. But the New York Knicks are still on their hot streak. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Game 2. I still think it's going to be Spurs in 5 or 6, but we'll see. But congratulations to New York Knicks, even though I'm a diehard Celtics fan, I can't root for the Knicks. But good job for you Knicks fans. That was a good game last night. Let's just hope we can get more good games and more good basketball games. Tonight is Game 2 between the Las Vegas Golden Knights and Carolina Hurricanes. Last night, or 2 nights ago, it was 5-4, Vegas won. Will Carolina bounce back? I think Carolina will bounce back, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't know. I just hope it's a good game. But I think the Carolina Hurricanes bounce back tonight and win in regulation or overtime. But we'll see. It's going to be a good game, but I think they're going to bounce back and win tonight. But Vegas is no tough team. They got to have a tough handle attacks. Tough attacks ahead. But I just think the Vegas Golden Knights even up the series tonight, but we'll see. I think the Carolina Hurricanes even up the series tonight, but we'll see. At home, I don't think Carolina's going to lose 2 games in Raleigh, North Carolina, but we'll see. But I think the Carolina Hurricanes even up the series tonight. And Anderson for goaltender for Carolina will still be playing tonight. The coach still stands by him, even though he gave up 5 goals in the last game. And Red Wings captain Larkin requests a trade. It can be interesting where Larkin goes, but that's all the hockey news right now. Last night, even though Paul Skeens had a decent game, the Pirates bullpen blew yet another game. Or bullpen, the bullpen blew yet another game. And this time was Mason Montgomery that blew. They had 2 outs in the 8th freaking inning, and they gave up 6 runs. I can't believe that they gave up 6 runs to 2 outs. And I mean, I like Greg Rousseau, and Greg Rousseau normally does good, but last night doesn't do good. And it wasn't really his fault. It's because Dennis Santana sucks to high heavens, and they couldn't put Dennis Santana in the game last night at all, because since he sucked so bad, they didn't want to put him in, and they decided to put in their closer, but I was doing pretty good for the most part until last night. But last night was probably one of the tough losses to watch. We were up like 8-9 to whatever it was, and then the next thing you know, they're losing 11-9, and that was pretty bad to watch. But I think the Pirates bounce back tonight, and I think the Pirates win tonight's game and win the game tonight. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Games that went final today. The Phillies beat the Padres and swept them 6-4. Beat the Padres, don't they swept them, but they won 6-4. The San Francisco Giants, it looks like they're going to win 12-6 over the Brewers, which is good. So we definitely need the Pirates to win tonight. I think they're still in second place, but they don't need to freak around and have their bullpen blow it again. Blow it again. I was listening to the radio earlier today, and they said the Pirates bullpen has given up the most games in the National League this year. That's not good. When the Pirates have one of the best offenses this year, and one of the best offenses up to date, and one of the best offenses of my recent memory, this bullpen is our kryptonite, and they really need to fix that. They probably should have spent more money on our bullpen than signing. I mean, I know at the beginning of the year he can still turn around. Marcelo Ozuna still sucks to high heavens, but then they should have signed more people and try to put somebody else from our minor league system or somebody else on our team in our DH designated hitter spot. But sometimes you try to make these deals and it doesn't work out. But we'll see. I think they should have spent more of that money on our bullpen, but that's just my personal opinion. The New York Knicks beat the Indians 2-1 today. The Boston Red Sox lost to the Baltimore Orioles 8-2. I think the Pirates won the series against Houston. I mean, they should have already won the series last night, and they shouldn't have blown that game. That was really pathetic last night by our Pittsburgh Pirates, but I think they come back and win tonight. I think the Cubs beat the Athletics. I think the Dodgers beat the Diamondbacks. And I think the Royals beat the Twins. But those are my baseball picks. Let's go to the standings of baseball before we finish off this video. So I guess now the Pirates are in third place as they blew that point. But they're really close to St. Louis. And if they win tonight, they'll be in second place. And there'll be 5.5 games out of first place, or maybe 4.5 games. I mean, they could have been less games last night at first place because the Brewers lost again last night. But the Pirates decided they didn't want to play last night, and their bullpen wanted to blow that game. That was really depressing to watch. I can't believe they blew that game last night. I thought they were going to win for sure, but they blew it. But thank you, Stache, for watching Every Sport. Congratulations to Darnell Washington on getting a new contract extension. Tomorrow we'll talk more about sports and more about other stuff. Let's hope the Steelers didn't do anything during this video today. But we'll see what happens to the Steelers. I think Joe Porter Jr. is next to get a contract extension. But like I said, I think Nick Herbig and Darnell Washington will have a good career in Pittsburgh. And I think there's a good contract, but we'll see. There's only time will tell. But I don't know where to get all this money. But congratulations to Darnell Washington and Nick Herbig getting bags. Even though people like Jason Kelsey don't know who Nick Herbig is. Maybe you should stop dating Taylor Swift and learn more about football, you dum-dum. But thank you for watching every episode of Stache Sports. This is Stache Sports signing off.